Today, we get to share with you a little bit about a company called Timberlab. Timberlab's goal is to build buildings with mass timber in a way that changes the future. They say they are delivering solutions that turn possibilities into projects. Timberlab is led by President Chris Evans. It has 3 offices in total, 2 offices in Portland, and an office in Greenville, South Carolina. They are creating projects from one side of the nation to the next, but they focus on the Southeast and the Northwest. The entire company is made up of a 50-person team. One of the most assuring aspects of Timberlab is it's made of not just businessmen, but general contractors. General contractors are familiar with numbers, but their greatest asset and experience is first and foremost in building safe, quality buildings. Timberlab markets this as their company seeing through the eyes of the builder. They're actually an offshoot from a large construction company. Timberlab president said they know how to build a project made of mass timber with the whole building in mind. I spoke with the manager of prefabrication at Timberlab, and he explained a little bit more about how they transport the materials. They do all of their materials through commercial trucking. They do multiple deliveries throughout the build period, and they can carry about 48,000 pounds per truckload. Sometimes they'll build a mock-up ahead of time off-site for a client who wants to come and see what the finished product may look like. But for the majority of the time, they wait to build the entire building until they are on site. They build it by columns and then beams, and then column 2, and then beam 2, and then columns and beams some more. They continue to go until it is built. While we're in Seattle, we are actually looking at a project called Heartwood, and that will be 80 to 85% wood. Timberlab has done some incredible newsworthy work, but their most innovative challenge they have overcome is how to look at tall timber buildings with fire in mind. They had to solve the equation of trying to make wood fire resistant. Their Ascent project looked at the effects on their columns after 3 hours. The results were incredible and showed the columns can hold structural integrity after 3 hours. On the left, you can see the glow column after the 3-hour test, and on the right, you will see it without the charred area. So why would an owner choose Timberlab if they've never done it before? Owners are not just saving space under materials in their construction loan, but also require time to complete the project. The quicker a project is completed, the more quickly tenants can come in, which means rent comes in sooner. The structure is actually built off-site and then assembled together on-site. This decreases the amount of mistakes that can be made and risks that can occur. It also takes away space from subcontractors having to wait around on-site for their GC to give them new instructions. Their timber solutions have shorter time of prefabricated panels, and less labor is required than your typical concrete and steel. Timberlab builds the project virtually, down to all the details, which they describe as the construction process into a process of assembly. I asked a colleague who works in assuring buildings are up to prime how he feels about building buildings out of mass timber. And he said that wood is considered the cheap way to build things. I told him he is not wrong. According to Art Fixture, materials like cross-laminated timber cost on average around $50 per square foot, which in many cases is about $14 per square foot less than a traditional concrete and steel building. For a commercial building with 40,000 square feet, that's $560,000 in savings in materials alone. The foundation also becomes less expensive because it is lighter. Timberlab has been successful in many ways, but surely in their marketing and public relations. They have to work twice as hard to prove their buildings are not just satisfactory, but highly desirable. Choosing a firm that is challenging the status quo requires an owner to take a risk by probably doing something they have never done before. One thing Timberlab's buildings can never look is cheap, because they have to fight the stigma that the wood buildings are cheap. They have to consistently prove their buildings are reliable. Every building in their portfolio is significantly different than the rest. They're all pleasing to the eye and something any city member would want in their community. When speaking with the manager of prefabrication, I did find out that Timberlab is interested in exploring working in other areas than captivating architectural buildings. They also market themselves as an opportunity to help the planet. With the way Timberlab is building things, they're greatly decreasing the carbon emissions that would be produced if it was produced through concrete and steel. This is a great quality to do what they do, and it is amazing of the way that they're helping the environment, but it also helps them and has an added bonus of being an incentive for an owner to choose them. It makes any owner incentivized to choose this company and to take that risk. The mass timber idea is a phenomenal solution for buildings having a less carbon footprint on our world. If the industry becomes accepting of it, I believe it could take a large percentage of how buildings are being built. I believe it can take off in America as long as we can access the materials that we need to access. If it is seen that these buildings will hold their quality, why would an owner not choose Timberlab or a like-minded company?